Okay, friends, very good evening. Today, I'm going to explain you about the allowances. Allowances, allowances, which comes under computation of income under the head of salary. Under the head of salary. In first class, we have discussed. In first class, we have discussed there are five heads of income. There are five heads of income. First is income from salary, income from salary, income from salary, and second one, income from house property, income from house property, and third one, income from business and profession, that is called profit and gains. That is called profit and gains from business and profession. And next, income from capital gains. Capital gains and again divided into two types: short term capital gain and long term capital gain. And fifth one, income from other source. Other source means the other incomes which are not coming these four. The incomes which are not come under these four will come under income from other source. Income from other source. So these are the five heads of incomes. Five heads of income. And today we are discussing from salary, income from salary, come from. Today we are discussing that about the income under the computation of income. Computation, computation, computation of computation of income under the head under the under the head under the head of under the head of salary, under the head of salary. What you have to here see, to compute the salary income in income tax, to compute the salary income, first you should know what is the salary and the sections which are related to the salary. There are three sections. One is 15 and 16 and 17. These are the three sections. Those are which are related to the salary. We already discussed all these in previous class. We already discussed what is a salary, basic salary, the advanced salary, arrears in salary, profits in lieu of salary. We have discussed all these things in previous class. And today's class we are going to discuss. In today's class, I am going to explain you about the allowances. About the allowances. Let us see what is allowance. What is allowance? Allowance is a nothing but it is a cash benefit. Allowance is a nothing but it is a cash benefit. Cash benefit. Cash benefit. in addition to this basic salary, in addition to the basic pay, in addition to the basic pay or basic salary, in addition to the basic salary, and government will give some cash benefits. Government, not only government, and employer, in addition to the basic pay, employer will give some cash benefits cash benefits to the employee, cash benefits to the employee, and these cash benefits are called allowances. These cash benefits are given to the employee to meet a specific, to meet a specific expenditure, to meet, you have to meet a specific, to meet a specific expenses or expenditure. When employer gives to the employee some cash benefits in addition to the basic pay to meet a special expenses, it is called allowances. It is called allowances. Let us see what is allowances here. Allowances means the fixed sum paid by employer to employee to meet official or personal expenses. See, you have to fixed sum, that is a cash. Fixed sum is a nothing but that is a cash paid by employer to employee to meet official and personal expenses. Personal and official expenses. Different types of allowances are given to employees by their employers. Means these allowances are categorized. There are different types of allowances. There are different types of allowances, that is entertainment allowance and house rental allowance, compensate allowance, travel allowance, day and there are different types of allowances, and different employers will give different types of allowances to the employees. Generally, allowances are given to employees to meet some particular requirement like house rent, expense on uniform, and expense on uniform, convenience, and etc. So there are different types of special expenses. To meet that expenses, an employer will provide allowances to the employee. Those are the, for example, those are the house rent allowance, expenses on uniform, and convenience allowance. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, allowance is taxable on due or receipt basis. On due or receipt. Due is, what is meant by due? Due is nothing but yet to receive. Due is nothing but to be received. To be received. Not received, but it is going to be received in due course. It is going to be received in due course. Okay, to be received and receipt basis. So in according to the Income Tax Act 1961, allowances are taxable. Allowances are taxable either on a due or a receipt basis. If you received, you have to pay to the tax. No, that allowances belongs to this a particular financial year, and you have to be received, at to be received, and that is also a taxable on a particular assessment year. For example, particular previous year. For example, 2000 2019 20 is the previous year. Is the previous year. See, you have received one of the allowance which is belongs to the previous year in the assessment year 2020-21. That is a sum of rupees 10,000. For example, say it is a sum of rupees 10,000. See, you received this 10,000 in a financial year 2020-21, but this is belongs to 2019-20. In which year you have to pay the tax? In which year you have to pay the tax on this 10,000? According to the Income Tax Act 1961, you have to pay the tax on this 10,000 for which it belongs to, that is 2019-20. And this allowances belongs to 2019-20. This allowances belongs to 2019-20, but you received in 2021. You received in 2021. So you have to pay tax in 2019-20. And that is called due basis. That is called a due basis. So, see, you are going to receive, not yet received, but you are going to receive, that you have to pay a tax also. And sometimes a receipt basis. For example, this allowance is belongs to 2019-20, and you did not pay tax on this 10,000 in 1920. In 1920, now you have to pay tax on the 2000 in the year 2020-21, because that is called receipt basis. Means in which year you received these allowances, though these allowances are belongs to the previous year, that is 2019-20, but you received it in 2020-21, you can also pay tax on for the year 2020-20. Means either, not for the two times you are paying the tax, you can pay either due basis or in a receipt basis. Means this 10, in the first case you did not receive this 10,000 in 2019-20, but you may receive, or you are going to receive it is in a 2020-21, but which is belongs to 1920. So you can pay tax in 1920 on the due base. On the due base. That is the first case. And second case, though this allowances belongs to 1920, you did not receive it in 1920 and you received it in 2021. So as you received it in 2021, you can pay tax in the year 2021. So that is the meaning of receipt basis. So in income tax, you can pay, or an assessee can pay tax on either on due basis or on a receipt basis. Finally, you have to pay the tax. Whether you pay on due basis or the receipt basis, the ultimate thing is you have to pay the tax on the allowances which are fully taxable or partly taxable. That is the main object and aim of the calculating the tax. And whichever is earlier. The next one. Various types of allowances normally in work are discussed below. So there are three types of allowances. And these allowances are categorized or classified on the basis of tax treatment. On the basis of tax treatment. For example, I tell you, on the basis of gender, how many types of humans are there? There are three types. On the basis of gender, there are three types. One is male, second one is female, and third one is transgender. Or on the basis of education, as there are two types, literates and illiterates. Or on the basis of race, there are different colors, black, white, brown, yellowish. See, to classify anything, there is a base is needed. A base is needed to classify a one thing. So here, to classify the allowances, the Income Tax Act has taken tax as a base. Tax as a base. So according to the or on the basis of tax treatment, allowances are classified into three types. One is fully taxable. Allowances fully taxable. Fully taxable. Fully taxable. And a second one, allowances fully exempted. Fully exempted. Fully exempted. And next, allowances partly taxable. Partly taxable. These are the three types of allowances. These are the three types of allowances. Allowances are classified into three types. Three types on the basis of tax treatment. On the basis of tax treatment, one is fully taxable allowances, which are fully taxable, and allowances and second one is allowances fully exempted, and third one allowances partly taxable. Let us see what is meant by allowances fully taxable. Means on behalf of those allowances, fully taxable allowances, fully taxable, fully taxable allowances fully taxable. There are different types of allowances which are fully taxable. For example, for example, you have received a sum of rupees 10,000 as a allowance. 10,000 as a allowance. 10,000 as a allowance. Fully taxable means you have to pay tax on the whole amount of 10,000. As you received this allowance as this allowance comes under the category of fully taxable, you have to pay full tax on this allowance of rupees 10,000. Means, and such allowances which are coming under the fully taxable category, on those allowances, the employee has to pay full tax. Full tax. And there are some other allowances fully exempted. Fully exempted. Fully exempted. Fully exempted. Means, and there are some other types of allowances on which you need not to pay any tax. You need not to pay any tax. For example, you have received a sum of rupees 20,000 as a certain allowance. On such allowance, you need not to pay any tax because this allowance will come under the category of fully exempted. Means exempted from the tax. Exempted from the tax. As it comes under the exemption category, you need not to pay any tax. Any tax. And the third one, partly taxable. Partly taxable. Partly taxable. Partly taxable. Means partly taxable means partly exempted, untaxable. See, for example, you have received a 30,000 rupees as a certain allowance. If this 30,000 falls under the category of partly taxable means a part of this 30,000, say for example 20,000. This is a part of 30,000. On 20,000 you have to pay tax. On 20,000 you have to pay tax means this 20,000 is a taxable and the remaining 10,000 is exempted. 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 There are some allowances which comes under this category, third category, that is partly taxable and partly exempted. And such allowances, in those allowances you have to pay tax on partly allowance and on partly, and the remaining and the rest one you need not to pay any tax, that is exempted. So let us see the allowances which are falling under these three types of uh, allowances, or these three types of category. Let us see here. You can see allowances fully taxable here, allowances fully taxable, allowances partly taxable, allowances fully exempted. Exempted means you need not to pay tax and you have to pay tax and you have to pay tax. You have to pay tax here. Here fully taxable means, and these allowances, any amount received, any amount received in the form of these allowances, the tax on the whole amount you have to pay tax. You have to pay tax on the whole amount of that allowance, and means the whole amount of allowance is taxable. Is taxable. That will come under the taxable income. And this fully exempted. Fully exempted. Any allowances received, these such type of certain allowances which comes under fully exempted, and that amount will not come under the taxable amount, means you need not to pay any tax. You need not to pay any tax. And the third one, partly taxable. Partly taxable. Any allowances or any allowance employee or assessee receive which come under the partly taxable allowance, and some of that amount on the sum of that amount will come under taxable allowance. On that you have to pay tax, and the remaining will come under exempted allowance, means no taxable, not taxable allowance. Let us see the list. Let us see the list. Let us see the allowance. The list of the allowances. The first one, fully taxable. Let us see those allowances which comes or fall under the fully taxable allowances. The first one, entertainment allowance and dearness allowance, DA, overtime allowances, when the allowances are given to the employee when he works overtime, means beyond the standard time, beyond the prescribed time. And next, fixed medical allowances. And next, city compensatory allowances, means these allowances are given to the employee to meet the increased cost for living in the cities. For example, Assassis belongs to Nizamabad, but he got job in Hyderabad and he has to stay in Hyderabad. See, in order to stay in Hyderabad, he has to meet the increased cost. Means comparing to the cost of living from Nizamabad to Hyderabad, and Hyderabad will have higher cost of living than the Nizamabad, and Nizamabad will have low cost of living than the Hyderabad. So as he has to live in Hyderabad, as cost of living is increasing, and for that purpose the employee or company is providing city compensatory allowances. Means Mr. A, you belongs to Nizamabad, where the cost of living is very low compared to Hyderabad. But you have to stay in Hyderabad to work in our company. So for that, you have to stay in Hyderabad. So you have to incur and you have to go under the high cost of living to compensate that. To compensate this high cost of increased cost of living, we are giving you allowance, that is city compensatory allowance. So this allowance somehow compensate your increased cost of living. Increased cost of living. So for that purpose, this city compensatory allowance is paid given to the employee. And interim allowance, interim allowance and servant allowance means if any employee is needed for servants at their home, and the company will provide servant allowances, and he can engage any servant to at home to work, and on that the allowances which is received on the basis of servant allowance, he has to pay tax, that is fully taxable. And project allowance, tiffin, lunch, and dinner allowance, any other cash allowance, warden allowance, and non participating allowance. These are the 11 allowances. These are the 11 allowances which are fully taxable. Fully taxable. Whatever the amount you received in the form of these allowances, those allowances will come under the taxable income. On that, on those and such allowances, you have to pay tax. But note, one note is there, that is entertainment allowance. Entertainment allowance for the government employees is fully exempted. It will come under deduction under section 16 subsection 1. First you have to show it is in a salaried income, and later on you have to deduct this is from the gross salary only for the government employees, and this facility is provided for the government employees. Entertainment allowance can be deducted as a deduction, as a reductions. So these are the, for rest of the people, for other employees, these are the 11 allowances which comes under the taxable income. The next one, fully exempted. And there are such incomes, certain incomes on which employee need not to pay any tax. Whatever the amount he has received, whatever the amount that employee received in the form of these allowances, and will comes under fully exempted, need not to pay any tax. Let us see what are those allowances. First one, allowances to the high court judge. Any allowance is given, any allowance is given to the high court judge, and such allowances will come under the fully exemption. So that employee or assessee need not to pay any tax on such allowances. Next, allowances paid by the United Nations Organization, UNO. That is a supreme organization in the world. UNO, United Nations Organization, which is established to establish peace among the countries in the world. So any allowances paid by the UNO, any allowances paid by the UNO and tax on such allowances is exempted. Tax on such allowances is exempted. And next, third one, compensatory allowances received by judges. Any judge, either Supreme Court judge or High Court judge or District Court judge, any judge in the country, any judge received compensatory allowances on tax on such allowance is fully exempted. And fourth one, sumptuary allowance granted to High Court or Supreme Court judges, and this is a special allowance. Special allowances granted to the High Court or Supreme Court judge, and tax on this allowance is fully exempted. And fifth one is allowance granted to government employees outside India. So any allowance granted to the government employees outside India means not in the country, outside the country. From outside the country or outside the country, any government employee received allowances from outside the country or from the outside, in the outside the country, on the outside the country, outside the India, and that allowances are fully exempted. Fully exempted. So these are the five types of allowances which falls under the fully exempted. Fully exempted. And next, partly taxable. Partly these are the main very important allowances that a student should remember, because here some calculation is required. See, for fully taxable income, you need not to do any calculations. Directly you can add it to the income, salaried income. And for fully exempted, you need not to show it is as a income. It is as a fully exempted. But when comes to partly taxable income, you need to go for some calculations. Some calculations means you have to calculate in a partly taxable income which part of that allowance will come under the taxable, and which part of that allowance will come under the exempted. So there are list of allowances which comes under partly taxable, partly taxable, and partly not taxable, or partly exempted. So there are in the list, in this box, there are two allowances are mentioned. There are two allowances are mentioned. One is house rent allowance, HRA. It is called HRA under section HRA under section 10 subsection 13A. Under section 10 subsection 13A, house rental allowance. And next one, special allowances. Special allowances given by the employer to employee under section 10 subsection 14. Under section 10 subsection 14, these are the these are the two allowances. These are the two allowances which come under the partly taxable, given by the partly taxable and partly exempted. Let us see. This calculation, how these calculations will be there. Here, see, allowances which are fully taxable. Let us see. Let us see the allowances which are fully taxable. See, these are the 11 allowances which comes under fully taxable. But for these special 3 notes, you have to remember. You have to remember these special 3. The first one, city compensatory allowance. City compensatory allowance is normally intended to compensate the employees for the higher cost of living in cities. So, for example, in capital cities, in metro cities, the living cost will be very high. The living cost will be very high. So, to meet such a cost, or to compensate such a cost, the employer or organization will provide this city compensatory allowance to the employees. And it is taxable irrespective of fact whether it is given as a compensation for performing his duties in a particular place under the special circumstance. So, irrespective of the situation, whether you are living in a city to live in a particular place to perform his duties, or it may be for special conditions, irrespective of the situations. And if you receive, if SSA receives that city compensatory allowance, he has to pay tax on such a allowance, irrespective of the situation. And next, the second one, entertainment allowance. Second one, entertainment allowance. This is very, very important. While you are doing the problems, you have to keep a special focus on the entertainment allowance, because see, the treatment of the entertainment allowances are different for the various employees. Let us see. This allowance is given to employees to meet the expenses towards hospitality in receiving customers. So, as they are facing the customers, and this is a special allowance provided to the employees. The Act gives a deduction toward entertainment allowance only to government employees. The only government employees can have this entertainment allowance as a deduction. The rest of the employees are not allowed to show this allowance as a deduction. They have to pay tax. In the case of government employees, only central government and state government employees, not other government, that is corporation, outsourcing and contract. And so these employees are not allowed as a deduction. Only central government and state government employees are allowed as a deduction. The first included in a salary, and thereafter least of the following is deductible. First you have to include this allowance as a salary. I will show you the pro forma. First you have to add this allowance as a income in a salary, and after that you can avail. This means you can miss a government employee, either central government or state government employee, least of the following as a deduction. Least of the following as a deduction. These three means least of the following, whichever comes under list. For example, the person is receiving a 10,000 rupees 10,000 as a entertainment allowance. For example, suppose has received rupees 10,000 as a entertainment allowance. He is a government employee, central government employee. Let us see what is the amount he can claim as a deduction. What is the amount he can claim as a deduction? The first one is 5,000 rupees, and second one is 20% of basic salary. 20%. To calculate this, you need his basic salary. For example, his basic salary is 20,000. Assume that his basic salary is 20,000. His basic salary is 20,000. My pen is not good. I'm going to change this. In next class, I'm going to change. This 20,000 is a basic salary, and from this, out of this 20,000, and you have to take 20% only. That is 20 percentage means 100. 20 by 100. 100. And this zero is cancelled, and this zero is cancelled. And three zeros are there. Three zeros. And two twos are 4. That is 4,000. And this is 4,000. My this pen is not good. I'm going to change. But today, please adjust. This is 4,000. So 5,000 is a standard deduction, and 4,000, that is 20% of the basic salary, and an entertainment allowance. What is the entertainment allowance? This is 10,000. So 10,000 he has received as a entertainment allowance. So what is our condition? Least of the following. So you have to take as a deduction least of the following. Least of the following. So which is the least among these three? Which amount is the least? 4,000 is the least. So you have to take this 4,000 as a deduction. So let us see. I'll show you how to have this deduction in the pro forma. In the pro forma, I will show you. I will show you. And this deduction is allowed only for the government employees, that is central government and state government. Yes, this is a pro forma. Here you can see. Here you can see this is a pro forma. Pro forma for computation of income under the head of salary. This you have to remember. See, here you have to see, you can see the first one is basic salary, commission, fees or commission, bonus and allowances. In allowances, you have to see dearness allowance, fully taxable, house rent allowance, partly taxable. Here the calculation is given. I'll show you there. I'll show you in detail. And next, children's education allowance, children's hospital allowance, transport allowance, entertainment allowance. This is you have to remember. Here you have to add as an allowance to the salary. See, separate it is added, and other allowances. See, if you observe, all the allowance, the rest of allowance are given in the inner column, and a total is put here in the outer column. But where comes to entertainment allowance, straight away it has kept in outer column, because this is fully taxable. You need not to undergo for any calculations. And other allowances. And next, and perquisites. In the next class, we are going to see what are the perquisites and types of perquisites. Okay, perquisites. And next, these are the and now see when you add basic salary, allowances, and perquisites, you will arrive to the gross salary. You will arrive to the gross salary. This is a gross salary. And from gross salary, see here, entertainment allowance is deducted only for the government employee. For our example, that entertainment allowance which is eligible for the deduction is 4,000. 4,000. And this 4,000 will be kept here as a deduction. As a deduction. So that is the process how to calculate entertainment allowance for the deduction only for the government employees, not for the other employees. The rest of the employees other than the government, and it is fully taxable. It is fully fully taxable. Fully taxable. Okay, and see the, and we'll go to the next, to the allowances. Allowances. And next, a third one, non-government employees. Non-government employees. Non-government employees, including employees of statutory corporations. Corporations like RTC, Road and Transport Corporation, Electricity Corporation, local authorities, or nothing is allowed as a deductions. Means, for example, for the entertainment allowance, only state government and central government employees are allowed as a deduction. Allowed as a deduction. And the rest of the employees, whether the private employees, whether the state government, central government, corporation employees, and local authorities like municipalities, panchayat raj employees, any employees is not allowed as a not allowed as a deduction, this entertainment allowance. Next, so next, partly exempt or fully exempt allowances on satisfaction of the prescribed conditions. So there are such allowances, certain allowances which are partly exempt and fully exempt, but based on the prescribed conditions. Based on the prescribed conditions according to the Income Tax Act 1961. According to the Income Tax Act 1961, if the employee satisfies a certain conditions, and for those allowances, and which are comes under partly exempt or fully exempt. Partly exempt and fully exempt. So let us see those allowances also. Today we'll complete. About all about the allowances, because and tomorrow we are going to start. Tomorrow we will discuss about the perquisites. We'll discuss about the perquisites. So we'll complete these allowances. Okay. We'll complete these allowances. Okay. Let us see. So certain allowances are exempt up to the amount spent for a specified purposes. That is, exemption would be lower of the actual allowance or amount spent for the specified purpose. So lower will be taken as an exemption, or actual spent amount will be taken as an exemption. See, let us see, and let us see. Allowances prescribed for the purpose of section under the section 10 subsection 4 and 4.1. Okay, subsection 1. Any allowance granted to meet the cost of travel on a tour or on a transfer, that is called travel allowance. So any travel allowance is given to the employee for transfer, either for transfer or for or, or for tour. Some companies will provide travel allowance for the employees to go on tour for the relaxation, and that will comes under partly exempted and partly taxable. Partly exempted and partly taxable. Let us see. Allowances granted to meet the cost of travel and transfer includes any sum paid in connection with the transfer, packaging, transportation of personal effects, and such a transfers. B. Next, any allowance, whether granted on a tour or for the period of journey in a connection with the transfer to meet the ordinary daily charges incurred by an employee on account of absence from his normal place of duty. Next, any allowance granted to meet the expenditure incurred on conveyance in performance of duties of an office or a employment of profit. Means this conveyance allowance is provided to the employee to attend the duties from his home. For example, city like Hyderabad, metro cities and capital cities, the employee's residential place means homes will be very far from the office. So from the home to office, he has to travel a long journey. So in such conditions, these employer or companies will provide conveyance allowance. Next, any allowance granted to meet the expenditure incurred on a helper where such helper is engaged in the performance of duties in office or for the employment profit means helper allowances it is called. So if employee need some helpers to perform such duties for the sake of office and such allowances, and any allowance granted, this is any allowance granted for encouraging the academic research and training pursuits in educational and research institutions. So some organizations will provide, this research and allowance to the or academic research allowance to the employee for continuing of his higher studies, to complete his higher studies or to complete his research work in such cases, and those allowances will come under the partly taxable and partly exempted. And the next, and any allowance granted to meet the expenditure on the purchase or maintenance of uniform for wear during the performance of duties of an office or employment of profit, that is called uniform allowance. So in some companies and employees are need to wear a uniform dress code. In such a cases, and the company will provide or employer will provide uniform allowance to purchase such a dress code. And then these are the six allowances. These are the six allowances. Okay, where certain amount means the actual spend amount, the actual sum for actual spend amount is exempted and the rest is taxable. For example, the actual allowance you have received 10,000. The actual allowance you have received is 10,000, but actual you spent is only 6,000. Actual you spent is 6,000, and what is the remaining? 4,000. And this you did not spend. This 4,000 you did not spend. See, actual allowance you have received is 10,000, But what is the actual amount you spent is 6,000 and 4,000 you did not spend. So on 6,000 you did not to pay any tax, but on 4,000 you have to pay tax. Means the amount which is actually spent, the amount which actually spent is exempted, and the remaining is taxable. The remaining is taxable in the case of these six allowances. And next. And certain allowances are exempt up to the amount specified by the government. And these are some other allowances. How many are there? 9, 10. 10 allowances are there. 10 allowances are there for which specified a certain amount is exempted and the remaining is a taxable. It is specified by the government, according to the government. So if you, according to the government conditions, some of that is taxable and some of the such allowance is exempted. Let us see those allowances. Let us see those allowances. The first one, any special compensatory allowance in the nature of special compensatory, that is hill areas, compensatory allowance, especially for hill areas, and high altitude allowance or uncongenial climate allowance, snowbound area allowance, or avalanche avalanche allowance. And these are the special allowances where rupees 800, 7,000 or 3,000 per month, depending upon the specified locations. So means the extent to which allowance is exempt. For example, here you have received 1,500 as a allowance, but the exempt is for only for the 800, and the remaining 700 is taxable. Remaining 700 is taxable. So on special compensatory allowance, the assessee has received 1,500 as an allowance, but only 8,000 is exempted. And what is, 800 is exempted. And what is the remaining 700? That is taxable. That is a taxable. That is a taxable. So that is, you have to extent to which allowance is exempted. So whatever the allowance you received, but up to this amount is exempted, and the remaining is taxable. Remaining is a taxable. Next. Second one, any special compensatory allowance in the nature of border area allowance, means it is given to the people, those who are employees, those who are working in the borders, and remote locality allowance, and difficult area allowance, and disturbed area allowance. Also, any allowance received in this form, and 1,300, 1,100, or 1,050, or 750, or 300 or 200 per month, depending upon the special condition locations. So depending upon the locations, this amount is exempted and the remaining is taxable. Remaining is taxable. And next, special compensatory, that is tribal area, schedule area, agency area allowances, and 200 per month is exempted. This is 200 per month is exempted and the remaining is taxable. Next, allowance for the allowance for the transport employees. 70% of such allowance up to maximum of 10,000. For example, you have received 20,000. 20,000. And what is the 70,000 into out of, sorry, 70% out of 20,000? That is 2 sevens are 14,000. 14,000. But up to 10,000 only. So though the 70% will be 14,000, but you are eligible up to 10% only. Sorry, 10,000 only. Or for example, 10,000 is eligible as a exempt. Or for example, you have received 10,000 as a this transport allowance. What is the 70% of this allowance? What is 70%? That is 1 7s or 7,000. 7,000 is allowed. So see which is less than the 10,000. So this 7,000 is eligible as a exemption. Eligible as a exemption. As a exemption. The next, children education allowance, 10 per month per child up to maximum 2 children. Only 100 rupees, sorry, rupees 100. Only rupees 100 per month per child up to maximum 2 children. 2 children, up to 2 children only is eligible as a, means that is if you have 2 children, 2 into 100. 2 into 100, that is 200 per month. If it is 200 per month, and what is per year, that is into 12. 12, that is 2 12s are 2400. 24 up to 2400 is eligible. Okay. Mm -hmm. 2 into 12, that is 24. Yes. 2 into 12, that is 2400. And next, that is children education. Next, hostel expenditure allowance, that is 300 per month per child up to maximum of 2 children. Up to maximum of 2 children. And compensatory field area allowance, that is 2600, that is 2600 per month for a specified areas. And compensatory modified field area allowance, that is 1000 per month for a specified areas is exempted. That amount is exempted. The remaining is you have to pay tax. And a transport allowance, that is 3,200 per month in case of any employee who is blind or orthopedically handicapped employee with a disability of lower extremes or deaf and dumb. So this is only for the disabled employees. So 3,200 per month is eligible for the exemption. And next, underground allowances would be granted to an employee who is working in unconventional, unnatural climate in underground mines, and this is applicable to whole India. Mines, coal mines. So there are employees who are working in a mines, And for such employees, it is 800 per month. It is 800 per month. and the most important one, HRA. Students, you have to remember this. This is the most repeated allowance in the problem, that is HRA. Exempt from tax to the extent of the least of the following. See, whatever the amount you have received, whatever the amount, whether the assessor receives as HRA, but least of this is exempted as a HRA. Let us see. Point 1. 50% of the salary in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, or 40% of the salary in other cases. In a first point, you have to take 50% of salary in metro cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai, or 40% of salary in other cases. That is first point. And second, house rental allowance, and the actual amount you received as a house rental allowance, HRA. And the next one, the excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. The excess of amount you paid over 10% of salary. So these are the three cases. These are the three cases, and the least of these three. Least of the three you have to pay as a taxable, which is taxable, which is here. Taxable HRA is equal actual HRA minus exemption. I'll give some example. For example, Mr. A is living in Kolkata, and he is receiving rupees 20,000 as a HRA, and his salary is 80,000 per month. His salary is 80,000 per month. This is HRA. This is HRA. And this is salary. This is salary. And calculate is a taxable HRA. See, he is living in Kolkata, and 50% of the salary, for that is from 80,000, 50% is 40,000 and 40%. And actual house rental received is 20,000. That is HRA. And excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. So now you have to calculate 10% of salary. 10% of salary from 10% out of 80,000 is 8,000. Means here the excess of rent paid over 10% of the salary. Means, see, his rent paid is 25,000. For example, 25,000 is his rent paid minus this 10% of salary. And what is the remaining? Remaining is 70,000. 70,000. See, the first one is 40,000, second one is 20,000, and third one is 17,000. And the least of these three you have to take as an exemption. That is 17,000. So what is the actual HRA received? He received actual HRA is 20,000, and out of 20,000 and 17,000 is exempted. That is 17,000. 20,000 minus 17,000. The remaining is 3,000. On 3,000, he has to pay tax. This is a taxable amount. Understood? I think you have understood this HRA. How to calculate this HRA? So this is a partly taxable. Means, see, in this case, Mr. A has received 20,000 as HRA, but in 20,000, 17,000 is exempted from tax, but a 3,000 on 3,000 he has to pay tax. This is partly exempted and partly taxable. Partly exempted and partly taxable. This is the how process how assessee has to calculate the tax. Partly exempted allowances. And this you have to note these points. Exemption not available to an assessee who lives in his own house. If employee or an assessee, if assessee is living in his own house, exemption is not allowed, and he has to pay tax on whole allowance. Or in a house for which he is not incurred the expenditure of rent, or any assessee is not incurring any rent payment. In such a condition, in that assumption is not allowed. Next, salary for the purpose means basic salary, DA, and if provided in terms of employment, and commission as a fixed percentage of mean. Here salary means basic salary plus dearness allowance. You have to take both as a salary. And sometimes if there is a commission in a fixed percentage of turnover, and you can also add commission. Means here the salary means basic salary In this case, to calculate exemption for house rental allowance, you have to calculate salary as a basic salary plus dearness allowance plus commission. The sum of these three, addition of these three is treated as a salary. As a salary. And next, salary determined on due basis means either salary receipt base or due basis. Also, you can take as a salary. And mode of computation of exemption. The exemption depends on a salary, HRA, rent paid, and a place where house is taken. If the house is taken Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai, and that is 50%. If the house is taken rest of the other cities, and 40%. If okay, rent paid, the exemption depends upon the exemption depends here. The exemption depends on salary, HRA, rent paid, place where house is taken. If all these factors are same throughout the previous year, the exemption should be calculated on annual basis, otherwise monthly basis. So in a previous year, all these are same, salary, HRA, rent paid, all are equal, then you have to calculate HRA on annual basis. Otherwise, if there is any differ, in such amount, and you he has to calculate this on a monthly basis. Monthly basis. And the last one is fully exempted. Fully exempted. Now we are going to see fully exempted. Allowances which are fully exempted means allowances on these, see, tax on these certain allowances, assessees need not to pay any taxable. Let us see. Allowance to the High Court judges. Any allowance paid to the High Court judges of High Court under the section 22A subsection 2 of the High Court judges Conditions of Service Act 1954 is not taxable. According to this act, any allowances received by the High Court judges is not taxable. Next, allowances received from United Nations organizations. Allowances paid by the UNO to its employees is not taxable by virtue of Section 2 of the United Nations Privileges and Immunities Act 1947. And third one, compensatory allowances under Article 222 subsection 2 of the Constitution, that is Indian Constitution. Compensatory allowance received by the judge under Article 222 subsection 2 of the Constitution is not taxable since it is neither salary or not a perquisite. So this allowance is not salary and perquisite, hence it is not a taxable, it is exempted. And sanctuary allowance. Sanctuary allowance is given to High Court judges under the section 22C of the High Court judges Condition of Services Act 1954 and Supreme Court judges under the section 23B of the Supreme Court judges Conditions of Service Act 1958 and is not chargeable to tax. And allowances payable outside India. Allowances paid outside India on income tax under the Income Tax Act 1961 section 10 subsection 7. Outside any allowance received by the assessee outside the India, and such allowances are not taxable in India but taxable in outside. In which country? Then country in which he has received that allowances. Such allowances. Let us see. Allowances or perquisites paid or allowed as such outside India by the government to a citizen of India or a service rendered outside India are exempt from the tax. So any allowances and perquisites paid outside because he is performing duties in the outside of the country by the government and citizen of India for rendering services outside India. Okay, in such cases and such allowances are exempted. Such allowances are exempted. Students may remember that in such a cases, under section 9 subsection 1 of 3, the income chargeable under the head salaries is deemed to be accrued in India. Accrue in India. The residential status of the recipient will, however, not affect this exemption. So, the students, you have to remember that any salary received or accrued in India, you need not to see the residential status. Any accrued salary received in India, that comes under the as a income under the head of salary and taxable. Next, exemption of specified allowances and perquisites paid to chairman or a retired chairman or any other member or retired member of the UPSC. UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. It is a autonomous body constituted by Indian Constitution. So it has given the Constitution has given some special rights and powers and duties to this organization UPSC, which will recruits high officials, high grade employees in the country. So some special allowances and some special requisites are given to such chairmen and members, okay, of UPSC, and those are exempted from the tax. Those are which are exempted from the tax. Let us see. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, perquisites and allowances received by any employee are taxable under that salary unless they are specifically exempted. If they are specifically exempted, other than which are the taxable. And next, section 10 subsection 45 exempts specified allowances and practices received by the chairman or any other member, including retired chairman member of UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. So, according to the section 10 subsection 45, any such allowances, certain allowances received by the UPSC chairman and members or received retired chairman members and such allowances are exempted from the tax. Exempted from the tax. Next, the exemption would be available in respect of such allowances and perquisites as may be notified by the central government in this behalf. So there are some allowances which are specially noted by the central government to provide exemption. Next, and accordingly, the central government has notified the following allowances and perquisites for serving chairman and members of UPSC for the purpose of exemption under the section 10 subsection 45. So the allowances which comes under the exemption for the UPSC chairman members under the section 10 subsection 45. These are the list. Let us see the first one, value of rent-free official residence. So any allowance given for the rent-free official residence, and that is exempted from the tax. And the value of conveyance allowance facilities, including transport allowance, any allowance given for the as a conveyance allowance, that is exempted from the tax. And the sanctuary allowance, any allowance is given as a sanctuary allowance, that is exempted from the tax. And the next, the value of leave travel concession. So any leave travel is provided to go for a journey, to visit some other place. So that allowance is exempted from the tax. That allowance is exempted from the tax. Next and last one. In case of retired chairman and retired members of UPSC, the following have been notified for exemption under the section 10 subsection 45. So for the retired chairman and member of UPSC, these following are mentioned as the exemption from the tax. Let us see the first one. Sum of maximum 14,000 per month for defraying the service of any orderly and for meeting expenses incurred towards the secretarial assistance on contract basis. So any secretarial assistance is given or taken. So in such a cases, any allowance is given for in such a cases up to 14,000 is exempted. That employee may receive 20,000 or 30,000, but up to 40,000 is 40,000 is exempted as a from the tax. Next, and the value of a residential telephone free of cost, and the number of free calls to the extent of rupees 1500 per month, over and above free calls per month allowed by the telephone authorities. So up to 1500 over and above the free calls, and after the free calls up to, okay, after the free calls up to 1500 is eligible as a exemption for the uh, residential telephone cost. So these are the allowances, and these are the allowances you have to remember, students. These are the allowances you have to remember while computing the income under the head of salary, or income from the head of salary. Okay, you have to remember, and you have to visit, you have to watch this video number of time. Okay, if you have any doubts, comment. Have any doubts, comment, and I will give reply. And share this video, like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe my channel, and click on the bell icon to get more videos regarding to the income tax. More videos regarding the income tax. Subscribe my channel and click the bell icon. Then you will receive notifications whenever I post the new videos regarding the income tax. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye. In next video, we'll come with the prerequisites. Bye bye. Thank you.